This driver had 7 championship titles in his entire career. You might know him as the guy who got into one controversy after the next, or maybe the one who rescued Ferrari from their biggest slump ever. But it's hard to find another driver that matches Michael Schumacher's sheer skill.
Yes, Michael Schumacher takes the lead in the Grand Prix of Europe, and the Benetton team go berserk with delight.
And Michael Schumacher, 4 times world champion, reigning world champion, flicks the car.
Michael Schumacher wins the Spanish Grand Prix after an absolutely superlative drive. Michael Schumacher
gets his 7th Formula One World Championship.
This is a man with a lot of history on the racetracks of Formula One. Here's everything you need to know about the F1 racing legend, Michael Schumacher. Not many people know this, but Michael wasn't always a star driver. He grew up in a working-class family and got his start in karting, where he really shone. Believe it or not, at just 6 years old, he secured his first karting championship using a kart made from spare parts. His talent was undeniable, and he kept racking up wins, like taking home the 1987 European Karting Championship. From there, he went on to conquer various single-seater racing series. So when he did finally get into Formula One, Schumacher wasn't just dominating the track, he was making some serious cash too. Even off the racetrack, he was pulling in upwards of $50 million a year from endorsements alone. Over his 16-year era in Formula One, Schumacher managed to win 7 world titles, with a massive 91 wins, 68 poles, 154 podium finishes, and an unbelievable 1,369 points. His personal performance aside, the guy was also a really good team player. He took the modest Benetton squad to glory and breathed new life into Ferrari, ending their 20-year title drought. But before we dive into the highs and lows of this absolute legend's racing career, let's head right to where it all began. So, after a successful karting career, Michael joined the F1 scene at the Belgian Grand Prix in 1991. There, he made his debut with the Jordan Grand Prix team. Despite barely getting acquainted with the car and the track, he stunned everyone by qualifying 7th on the grid. He definitely knew how to make an entrance, but let's just say he always had a thing for starting drama. You see, Schumacher got people heated when he completely switched things up to join Benetton for the next race, despite having an agreement with Jordan. This move sparked controversy, but it was only the beginning of Schumacher's crazy journey in Formula One. In 1992, Schumacher got his first win at Spa, the very track where he'd made his debut just a year earlier. He wrapped up the season in 3rd place with 53 points under his belt. The following year, he got his 2nd career win at the Portuguese Grand Prix, but finished 4th in the Drivers' Championship standings. Then came the volatile year of 1994. It was marked by the tragic loss of 3-time world champion Ayrton Senna at the San Marino Grand Prix. Schumacher was deeply affected by Senna's passing, and the aftermath weighed heavily on him. At the time, he even considered hanging up his gloves and retiring, if you can believe it. But despite all that, he decided to push forward after the Benetton team urged him to continue. And so, even after the loss of a great rival, Michael continued to race, scoring 3 wins in the next 4 races. So all in all, Schumacher did pretty well. But it wasn't without its setbacks. Schumacher faced disqualification at the British and Belgian Grand Prix, leaving him with just a 1-point lead over Damon Hill heading into the final race in Adelaide. The tension reached a boiling point on lap 36 as Schumacher's collision with Hill sent both cars spiraling into the tire wall. In the chaos, Schumacher emerged victorious, getting his first F1 championship title in an absolutely intense finish. Just next year, Michael made back-to-back titles, becoming the youngest 2-time world champion in F1. After helping Benetton win the Constructors' Championship, Michael made another huge decision in his career. This time, he jumped ship and went to the struggling Ferrari team. Despite Ferrari's lackluster performance in recent years, Schumacher wanted to embrace the challenge and bring some real change. And boy, did he do just that. In his debut season with Ferrari, he secured 3 race wins, breathing new life into the team. The following year, Schumacher's star continued to rise as he got 5 wins and headed into the final round of the championship with a 1-point lead. But a controversial collision dashed his hopes, and he had to settle for second place. And this streak of bad luck continued until 1998, when Schumacher faced even more heartbreak as he narrowly missed out on the championship, despite securing 6 wins and a total of 11 podium finishes. The title slipped through his fingers, landing in the hands of Mika Häkkinen in a McLaren. It was a close call for sure, but Michael and Ferrari were ready to come back next year and get that win after all. But the Ferrari curse wasn't that hard to break. Even though the 1999 season started with high hopes for Schumacher, tragedy struck when he suffered a leg injury in a crash at Silverstone, sidelining him for a significant portion of the season. With Schumacher out of the picture, his teammate Eddie Irvine tried carrying the torch, but fell short in the championship race. But their combined efforts managed to be worth it in the end, because Ferrari secured the Constructors' Championship title in 1999. The 21st century started out crazy for Schumacher. He secured victories in the first 3 races, setting the stage for what seemed like a promising season ahead. But if there's one thing you know about this guy, his great starts always end up messing up somehow. This time, because of a mid-season slump, Schumacher faced setbacks with 3 retirements in consecutive races. As the championship race heated up, all eyes turned to the final showdown at the Japanese Grand Prix. Starting from pole position, Michael engaged in an intense battle with rival Mika Häkkinen throughout the race. Eventually, a lightning-fast pit stop propelled Schumacher into the lead, giving him his 3rd World Championship title, and marking a historic moment as the first driver since 1979 to claim a championship victory with Ferrari. This was a huge win for the team because it basically ushered in an era of dominance that fans had been waiting decades for. Their 5-year reign of Schumacher and Ferrari included championship victories in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004. Along the way, Schumacher shattered records left and right, including the most wins in a season, total career wins, and most career titles. The guy was on fire, that's for sure. But of course, all good things come to an end. And in the 2005 season, that's exactly what happened. Changes in tire regulations that season placed Ferrari at a disadvantage, clearing the way for Fernando Alonso to grab the championship title. And Schumacher, the guy had to settle for 3rd place. At the time, there were rumors floating about that he was going to retire. People weren't sure if he was up to the challenge anymore. But to prove the naysayers wrong, Michael once again strapped in and set off on the 2006 season. This is where he made history by equaling Ayrton Senna's pole position record in Bahrain, and later surpassing it at the San Marino Grand Prix. But despite a great effort to grab the championship title, an untimely engine failure in Japan crushed Schumacher's hopes, allowing Alonso to seize the crown. The guy really did try his best, but in the end, it just wasn't meant to be. That's not to say he didn't have a great run, but I think everyone saw the writing on the wall by this point. It was time to hang it up. And so Schumacher bid farewell to Formula One at the end of the 2006 season, marking the end of an illustrious era. Now, if you're a fan of F1, you know the story doesn't end there. Because in 2010, Schumacher made a comeback with Mercedes, adding another chapter to his F1 legacy. Sadly, this was also his shortest chapter, and probably one of the least exciting ones. That's because he never won a race, and never finished higher than 8th in the overall F1 standings. To add to all this disappointment, in 2013, tragedy struck Michael while he was skiing with his family in the French Alps. A terrible accident led to Schumacher hitting his head on a rock, causing serious head injuries despite wearing a helmet. The guy had to undergo numerous surgeries and extensive rehabilitation efforts afterward, and there have been all sorts of rumors going around. His family wants privacy and didn't disclose much to the public, which has only added to the rumor mill. Some reports suggest he's paralyzed and that he can't even talk anymore. It's unclear just what the condition of this racing legend is these days, but it's better to look at his amazing racing career and legacy rather than speculating about his current state. Anyway, if you want to check out some more content on F1 racing and its history, make sure to click on this next video.